Greetings, brothers and sisters. Got a bunch of stuff to get to, some good comments. Trump supporters with their wonderful comments, and something about Hunter Biden, and something that I say here. Corey Feldman citing Alec Baldwin, another clueless post from him. But let's start here with JoJo Magooze. It's Easter Monday. I believe this happened on Monday and not Sunday. Maybe I'm wrong. Doesn't really matter. There's all these people who can't wait to get a little video recording of their favorite president here, JoJo Magooze. And he's doing this over here.
You guys start to roll the eggs, okay? Ready, set, blow the whistle.
He's saying, get ready to do the eggs. He's going to blow the whistle. So these kids are getting ready to go and do their egg race. He's getting ready to blow the whistle. Not on Hunter Biden, just on the eggs. Okay, so this big white bunny comes in here. One of my viewers sent me this today.
Okay, ready, get set.
So he blows the whistle. He's watching them for a bit. Do some weird thing with eggs that you would never do with real eggs.
Asher.
Jill's really enjoying it because she's a teacher. Look at JoJo Magooze, just like how feeble and just, you know. Okay, now JoJo Magooze is going to get distracted like he do. Going to turn around. Hey, people waving at me. Okay, I'm drawn to this area over here. These people are waving at me, so I'll go over here for a bit. And here, look at this little kid over here. I say hi to these little kids, you know, like, you know, get to sniff their hair a little bit. I don't know. It's just, you know, JoJo Magooze, he's over there, and here's these people over here talking to him. And what a great president he is. Put a 1985 or 2005 video camera. Where else is this guy's trying to shake JoJo Magooze? And the bunny comes over. Let's watch that part again here. And so this is this, you know, ancient video camera. Everyone else has got their modern day phones with better recording devices. And she's saying something. This guy wants to shake his hand. And the bunny comes over here. The bunny's about to enter into the frame here. And he grabs JoJo Magooze, this, you know, whoever's dressed in this handler. The person said it was Q because the person who sent this to me said it was Q because follow the white rabbit, right? Which is a whole QB thing, right? But it could be Kamala. It could be a Secret Service agent. It could be a $10 employee. But whoever it is completely handling, managing, and controlling JoJo Magooze and telling him what to do. And the rabbit comes over. It's like, hey, you know, we have a whole event going on here, bro. It's like, hey, look at me. Wake up, turn around. And this confused, baffled JoJo Magooze wandering off like a doddering old fool has to go back and finish his responsibilities here. Classic JoJo. The bunny's like his handler. He's got someone dressed in a bunny suit. Has to be his handler because he can't, you know, focus and keep on task, right? He's supposed to be officiating this thing because, you know, he's the president. He can't even manage the Easter egg roll, you know? But he's got the nuclear codes, right? Okay, it's time to go again. All right, the bunny's got me on task again. Looking around. And he's going to blow the whistle, but he's standing right in the middle here where the kids are going to roll the thing. And these guys are all going in there. You can't be there, JoJo. She's saying to him, get out of the way, dope. Jill's like, you can't be there. You're in the line of, this is the racetrack. It's like you're standing here and, you know, Usain Bolt's going to run you over here. Get out of the way, JoJo. You can't be there. You're in the middle of the field. JoJo, get out of there. You got to be over in this area, over here. Big John Clausen cursor knows. And then he goes, run. He's got to get out of the way now. Okay, good. Boom. This guy just got whaled his egg in one hit. JoJo had to run. That's what's great. So I'm going to slow this thing down. So JoJo Magooze already done this once, right? He was over there on the side. He blew the whistle once. Now he's standing in the middle of the track. He forgot how to do it right. So he blows the whistle. This kid's like 24, right? He's a foot taller than every other kid, and he just wails the egg out. Almost hits JoJo with it, right? Like JoJo, like that's a Secret Service should have tackled that kid, right? That's the president. And there's all these Easter eggs and stuff over here. And, JoJo's in there mingling with the crowd. Like he completely failed. And this is like the Easter egg hunt. I mean, this is like the easiest part of his job. And he's clueless. He doesn't know what to do. All the people are going around him. He's like some doddering old fool in there. Like he's mauling some kid. He's sniffling and snoozling some kid back there. Touching the kid on the head and, doing all that stuff that he does. He's groping stuff. Look at the guy, right? Walking through here. Look at grabbing kids left and right. And, people are like, oh, let's get a selfie with this great man. Can I get your picture? You're such a great man, an honorable man. Look at him, just totally clueless. Look at the expression on his face, not knowing what to do. He's probably pooped himself like 3 times. Get away from him, kid. Run for your life. This guy's trouble. Just an absolute creeper, right? And, I'll shake this guy's hand, right? Shake this guy here. Pull my finger. Oh, pull my finger. Well, yeah. These kids are run by in suits. Like, how many races are they running? Like, he didn't blow the whistle anymore. This kid's got ears on her thing, bunny ears, and JoJo's, sitting there. Just look at he's clueless and doesn't know what's going on. This is just the Easter egg hunt, JoJo. Like, he can't even handle this. He needs all these people to tell him what to do and manage them, and, like he's just completely clueless. Kids are running around, grabbing him. Let's take a family photo. This woman's like grabbing him for a family photo. This girl goes to get next to him. She goes, oh, not me. You're right for your life, sweetheart, right? And then she's getting in there. He's going to smell this kid's hair over here, and little kid's coming in. JoJo's like looking at these kids and coming in. There's taking a little family photo. Grab that kid. Yeah, get this kid in front of JoJo. Just going to touch his head. He's a stranger, but he doesn't care. He likes touching kids. We've seen this before over and over again. He's getting in there. He's going to grab them all over. He's going to grab all these kids, smell his mom's hair. And this guy's saying, all right, it's time for you to leave, Mr. President. Right? Okay, where's the White House? Is that it over there? Is that big White House my home over there? And he's coming over here. It's more people want to get a picture with this great man so they can say, hey, we met this brilliant president, JoJo Magooze, while he was running the country into the ground and rolling Easter eggs on the front lawn of the White House. Getting directed and handled by the Easter Bunny. There's people with masks in the crowd, people wearing bunny ears. This guy's coming, hey, we got over here. You look over here. Hey, I got this over here. Over here? Okay, I'll go over here. Where is it going? Let me talk to my fans some more. Let me go over here in the crowd, right? Oops, I just pooped myself again. So somebody's got to change my Depends. He's just totally lost here, right? Let's get some more selfies. Anybody need a selfie? I got to get a selfie. I want to put it up on Facebook that I got a picture with Mr. President, JoJo Magooze. There's a dude with a bow tie, and he's meeting the crowd here. Just totally clueless. Who's that guy? And he's just, and we can just see by the expression he has no idea. But let's put is that a MAGA? Is that a dark MAGA? We'll get into the dark MAGA in a little bit with Trump's. This guy's hat on. He's styling, right? Who's that guy? Like the guy. Let's get an interview with that guy. Looks interesting. Looks like he's a little drunk. Here comes the Easter Bunny. It's Kamala. She's trying to get JoJo out of there, right? Come on, JoJo. You got to get back, all right? You've been out too long. You need to take your dementia pills. Let's go back here. Okay, one more selfie, though. I got one more selfie. So I got 2 messages this morning on Instagram. One was the JoJo Magooze Easter Bunny, just the Easter Bunny clip, but I knew there was more comedy gold there. And then another viewer sent me this. This is Chris Rock and Bernie Mac on the Oprah show. They did a movie together. One of the fans talked about their fight scenes, right? They had some fight scenes. I didn't see this movie, but apparently they had some fight scenes, and the guy said it looked very realistic. And so this is the discussion that ensues.
And I was like, oh my God, I hit you. He's like, you can't hurt me.
No, I didn't.
No, I know how to throw my punches. And the last thing you want to do is hit Chris.
And so Bernie Mac saying, the last thing you want to do is hit Chris Rock.
You know, I wish somebody would hit Chris, you know? Why in the hell you want to hit Chris? That ain't right. That ain't right.
And so this is some great foreshadowing. Why would you? I don't know. Let's go into the future and ask Will Smith. Okay, so I think one of my viewers sent me this. Either YouTube recommended it. I'm pretty sure a viewer sent me. This is Corey J. Feldman and his wonderful new song, The Comeback King. Somehow it's worse live. I mean, you didn't think he could make it worse, but he did. He's got... Where's your dance moves? Where's your dance moves, Corey? He's the comeback king. So here's the guy who's the rapper, right? The rapper comes in here. So where are you in your rap career that doing a collaboration with Corey Feldman is a good idea, right? Like you could be the baddest dude and the best rapper, and you lose pretty much every little drop of street cred you have if you team up with Corey Feldman, you know, the weird kid from the Goonies and Stand By Me, right? And those were his better days. And now Corey Feldman, I mean, he isn't even a has-been. He's a reality TV star now, right? He's made a joke and mockery of himself. You know, his Michael Jackson wannabe, and he's a horrible singer and dancer. And as a rapper, like, how does this, you know, at what stage of your career are you where you've relegated yourself, you've given up all hope, and you think going up on stage and performing at some Chuck E. Cheese with Corey Feldman is a good idea? And so that's that rapper guy ending any, you know, chance of him having a career. He just swatted himself on the butt there and said if you showed us his ass, you would have kissed it. Let's do the lyrics here. He just swatted himself on the ass. So the closed captions wouldn't even pick up the lyrics, but he said you would have kissed it, and he patted himself on the ass. Here he is again. Wow, I mean, it's like, is there anybody in the audience? He's the comeback king. He's going a cappella. Woo! Well, there was no cheer from the crowd. That got cut off. So that's Corey Feldman. So this is Alec Baldwin's most recent Instagram post. Here he is here. Well, it's not his most recent. He's posted these since. But yesterday, this was his most recent post, right? It's got 49,000 likes. A while back, I worked with a great Kurt Batterson, who you can't spell America without me, our parody Trump memoir. Here is Trump all suited up in a Russian uniform, ready to fight for his principles, or watch others fight and die for his principles. Now, here he is with his ducky lips, which we know I've established in other videos, is a characteristic he does himself. Like Trump doesn't do ducky lips, Alec Baldwin does. So Alec Baldwin's, and here he's got a Freemasonic floor, Alec Baldwin's impersonation of Trump is just an exaggeration of himself, right? And, you know, the guy said he was going to leave Trump behind, and he kind of did a good job. Like, I was surprised because he was talking about Trump and playing Trump. He was the most liberal Democrat Hollywood person who was obsessed with Trump. But when Trump, lost the election, and I don't want to hear any comments about it, right? I mean, the reality is Biden is now president and JoJo Magooze is now president. Trump isn't, right? And that's the reality. I don't want to hear about anything about the steal because the score is over. The game's over. It's been settled, right? And so when Trump lost, Alec Baldwin actually stopped talking about him, which, I was surprised that he had that level of, self-discipline. But here he is. He couldn't let it go. And again, this whole weird idea of Trump, having Russian masters, right? Trump's handlers are the banks, Israel, and Wall Street, right? Those are Trump's handlers. Those are the people that Trump answers to. They all have handlers. Those are Trump's. Trump didn't answer to Russia, whatever the thing he had. They didn't get his real handlers. But Alec Baldwin is a complete joke. What is dark MAGA? My wife sent me this. Trump supporters attempt to rebrand for 2024. A small fringe of Donald Trump supporters, or, intelligence community disinformation agents, right? Provocateurs, is calling for the former president to get on the highest stage of the U.S. politics with a vengeance, with a motto, dark MAGA. More of a meme than a political slogan, dark MAGA is a post-alt-right aesthetic that promotes an authoritarian version of Trump in a dystopian, Terminator-like images. In some, like the Trump Tower, is painted entirely in black, and the former president is seen piercing through the screen with blue laser eyes. The hashtag first appeared on Twitter in January 21st, has become increasingly popular in March, and now can be found in thousands of memes on Telegram and TikTok as well. The dark MAGA supporters are calling for a ruthless, unforgiving version of Trump to take revenge on his political enemies in the 2024 election. Well, I think this is, again, some extremism and stuff, but it looks like this is a disinformation campaign run by the intelligence community like Q was, like the Cubies, and these dopes are falling for it. I'm sure there are a lot of Trump supporters falling for it. Here's the dark magma. The hunt is on. Hunters become the hunted. And this is some of their hashtags. And, this is going nowhere good, right? Wake up, dummies. You're being dumbed again. I got to get to the Trump comments here in a second. Here's some more of the images. There's Hillary and Trump with Terminator eyes. There's this one. Trump as a skull. Trump as, I don't know what he is. I guess that's it. There's limited amount of dark magma stuff out there. Dark MAGA stuff out there. Here they have a swastika in that one. And so this is clearly something that, here he is with one eye and a laser eye and a Illuminati eye there. This is something that the intelligence community is pushing, and, don't be a dope and fall for it. Like, don't get doped again. You won't get doped again. Okay, so I want to get to these two Trump comments and the Hunter Biden comment. Let me find it here. Here it is. So this is the video entitled Sad Gatekeeper Jimmy Kimmel Does 8 Minutes on Trump. And I had two Trump comments, and it says this. Don't understand why people like Paul, not me, people like me. My brother used to say that. We need a guy like you, not you, a guy like you. Don't understand why people like Paul feel the need to qualify any compliments for Trump. Be saying, she means by saying, be saying things like, I don't agree with him politically, or, well, yes, he was unhinged and unpresidential, but, yeah, well, let me clarify that for you. Because I don't want dopey Trump supporters thinking I agree with them. That's why. Like and anybody else. Because it's my position. I like Trump in the fact that he wasn't presidential. Because I know the presidency is a lie. And that he brought sort of disgrace to the office. And he made all the liberal media people, all the, traditional Republicans and all the, the Democrats and I mean, pretty much everybody who was a part of the Washington Club cringe all the time on a daily basis because he was making a mockery of the presidential brand. And I just like Trump as a character. I watched the Apprentice shows, not all of them, but some of them, and they're funny. Like, Trump is funny, and the shows are, kind of interesting. But he's narcissistic, and he's, myopic, and he's a flim-flam man and a salesman, and, he really wasn't, whatever reason he got into politics, it wasn't to save the country, right? It wasn't, he didn't save the country, and he turned on his supporters in the end, which he always would. He's an unloyal guy, and he has some character flaws, but I still like him. I like him as a person. He's my favorite president. I've said it before. But his policies, he didn't really have any, right? His policies were pro-Trump and how great he is. And the way he bragged and things like that, again, it was very entertaining for me, but I can't endorse it, right? I can't endorse some of the things. And like I said, I think he has a soft heart, like, Dodgy, the master of the heartfulness system, was asked about Trump and Clinton. And he was asked about them by liberal Democrats who were freaked out about Trump becoming president. And he said, so there's a lot of liberal Democrats who do, boomer hippies and people like that who are, do heartfulness in America. And they asked him, so this is right after Trump got elected. One of my friends who voted for Trump told me about this. Because he said they were all freaked out, like they were just all panicked and, people who believe in spirituality have faith, and they're flipping out because Trump's president, right? And they're, Hillary Clinton. And so they asked Dodgy, what's your opinion? He said, I don't want to comment. Heartfulness isn't supposed to be political, and he didn't want to comment. They kept on asking him, and he said this is a very common thing that's known in heartfulness, that people with soft hearts often have difficult outer shells, like the crab, the cancer of the crab, and this idea of a soft heart, and you need a protective outer. You need to be edgy, or you need to have some difficult personality things to push people away from your soft heart, right? And and this has held up things I knew about people before in my life, before I became a member doing the heartfulness system. But it's often compared, right? The heart is often compared to something like, in this case, he said, Trump has a heart like a coconut. He has a hard shell externally, but he has a soft heart. And so he was reading the condition of the hearts in the heartfulness system. A preceptor or trainer, when you go get a sitting, you're meditating in front of them, and they transmit to you, and they can either see your heart or feel your heart. This is something I experienced. And they get a sense of, what needs to be cleaned away and what kind of heart you have, right? And you can read people this way when you become a heartfulness trainer. And he was doing that. He said Trump had a heart, like a hard external persona, but he had a tender, coconut-like heart, right? Oftentimes there's things like almond, the almond, which has a hard shell and a soft interior, right? Different, fruits and nuts are used. And other times that this has been, said about people. And he said Hillary Clinton has a heart like a mango, soft on the outside, but hard. If you've ever seen a mango that has a very hard pit, and a big hard pit on the inside, right? Another occurrence, somebody that I've had, issues in the heartfulness system that I've talked about in my Journey series. And I was just, I'm doing the 50th version of my Journey series. And I was just talking about how, something that happened has had effects on me and my family today, like the last couple of days. And it's, kind of riveting. But this woman was also asking him, and this guy who was a truther who does heartfulness told me about this. I wasn't supposed to say anything, but, that ship has sailed, right? But he said that, that she asked Dodgy because she was freaked out about Trump. And Dodgy said, Trump will be deceived, which this is like back in 2016. I've known about this since 2017 or 18. But he said Trump would be deceived and Hillary Clinton was the devil. And so that's how he described it, right? That Hillary Clinton, if she had gotten elected, she would be the devil, which is very strong words, especially for Dodgy, but any master of the heartfulness system. Dodgy doesn't speak about people like that, but that's what he said. And so from that point of view, Trump talked big, and he wanted to have a North Korea-like military show when he was inaugurated. He wanted to have, troops and missiles and things, running down the center of Pennsylvania Avenue there when he was sworn in, and they wouldn't let him do that. And he talked about using nukes, but Trump didn't do anything in terms of, he didn't have any wars, right? We had a bunch of wars under Bush, a bunch of wars under Obama, and we know Biden is pushing for wars and military action. And Biden was a part of the Obama, the Arab Spring. But Trump didn't do anything. Trump was a big talker, but he has a soft heart. I would agree with, that assessment of him, right, based on everything that I know. And so there's things to like about Trump. But he did turn on his followers. He did write a tweet, when everything was going south post the election, where he said, what kind of way is this to run a country? He was completely powerless. They clipped his nuts. I mean, there's things about it that, don't sit well with me by how he behaved. But as a character in the show, he was great. Like him a lot. Like one of my favorite characters in the show. And then he sort of had the way he exited, and now it's like, it won't ever be as good as it was, right? That first election night when all the news pundits and people were, flipping out. And so that's why I say the things that I do. Because I don't want people to think that I believe that Trump could save the country, because he couldn't. And what's happening to JoJo Magoo would have happened to Trump, because all the stuff that's happening right now has to happen. Like, that's why they got rid of Trump, because he wasn't going to cooperate, and he wasn't going to go out like JoJo Magoo, and so he wasn't going to follow orders or whatever it is, right? Like, Trump served his purpose for them, and they ran the worst type of Hollywood liberal, moral, and social agenda, because everyone was so triggered on the left that they pushed through this social agenda, and Trump did nothing to stop it, right? He was the catalyst. The hatred for Trump was the energy that pushed this agenda that is, now dominating America and, America's social system. And so, it's like anybody else. He has good things and bad things, and I certainly prefer Trump to JoJo Magoo, but, in terms of him being a president, he made things worse. There's no question about it, that Trump's presidency made things worse, and he set up, what's happening now to happen, which looks like World War III. And so then there was another comment where the person says, if you don't agree with Trump politically, then you should adore Biden. Or maybe you don't have the ability for abstract thought, MNFer. Maybe there's more than two choices. Maybe it isn't just a binary system, you binary F. Maybe I could dislike Biden's policies and Trump's policies and the Republicans and the Democrats, and there would be even a third option, or maybe even more options than three, maybe infinite amount of options. Like, if you don't like Trump's policies, then you must love Biden. Ka-ching, kabowie, right? Kablauzo, right? Like, the person, writes with such authority, like they're rocking it. Like, you just seem so simplistic, right? You're not even on the level where I could talk to you and have a real conversation, because you're barely conscious, right? To write that comment without even thinking that, like, how stupid it sounds, that there's only two choices, that if I didn't like Trump's policies, I must like Biden's, that's ridiculous. Because that's what the government gives you. That's what your slave masters give you. They give you two choices. And you think that's all there is? How sad and pathetic that your mind is so poorly trained that you can't even think of a third possibility. If you don't like Biden, you must like Trump. And if you don't like Trump, you must like Biden. A is to B, as B is to C, as C is to A. Like, how sad that that's how limited your mind is, that you can't think. And not only that's what you think, but you thought enough of it to put it in a comment. Like, you can't think of any other possibility that a reality exists where somebody wouldn't like Trump as a politician and would therefore also not like Biden, right? And I've had these comments before where people said, oh, so you don't like Trump, so you must support Hillary, right? No, that's not the case. I didn't say I didn't like him either. Like your inability to understand the basic, simple concepts I'm laying down here and then rise up to a world that's beyond your indoctrination is astounding, right? It's astounding that that's what you chose to put up here. Like just you could have been a Biden person and wrote the same thing. Just being a complete binary F, on, off, left, right, up, down, no possibility of, multifaceted choices and paths and infinite amounts of possibilities. You come up with two, and they're two dopes. Either take dope one or dope two, pull the lever, and go back to sleep, MNFer. I'm a little bit grudgy today. I had a very, I was hoping to make the 50th Journey series that I'm doing a real, I want to talk about a lot of the positive things in heartfulness. And I kind of went off in the one as far as, it was pretty brutal what I was saying today, at least in terms of heartfulness. And so I think that's carried over to this thing. But, it is a stupid comment. So I don't read positive comments. Once in a while someone makes a good joke, I'll read that. Or I'll just, remember it and tell it. But I don't, like people have asked me, why don't you cover positive comments? Well, comments where somebody is, the opposite of the comments I read would be somebody praising me, and me reading comments of other people praising me would come off as narcissistic, and it would make me really uncomfortable, right? It's not, any way to do that. And those comments are often personal and more intimate, right? Even though they're left on a YouTube video. These negative comments, the people are just screaming about how clueless and stupid they are, right? How unconscious they are and how oblivious they are, especially when I give them fair warning about the kind of comments that will end up with me, doing something like I'm doing here. So in that sense, they're asking for it. But here's the comment that I wanted to read. And so the person writes, "Hey, Pockets." I think that's referring to me, but I'm not Pockets. I'm not Pockets of the future. I'm not the noun in that sentence. You all would be some of you all would be the pockets of the future, right? Some people listening to this would be, the idea is that there'd be pockets of people living around the world who would see the writing of on the wall. See, the idea came to me years ago that when there is a transition between one yuga, one paradigm, and another time, another period, when there has to be, some sort of evolution, there are some people that understand that the system that's, available and the people, the way they are and the way they're oriented, are failing and are about to go extinct. And they figure out the future of humanity, and they start embracing that now. And that's what the heartfulness system helps people do. I mean, it should, because there's lots of people in the heartfulness system who aren't doing this. But you start living now, at least on the spiritual level they are, but I'm also talking about this material level. And, but you start living now the way everyone's going to be living in the future. Like you're ahead of the curve, right? You're a visionary, and you're now, embracing the future, right? You're creating a pocket of the future, right? I'm not the pocket. And so calling me Pockets is like, it's not right. It's you don't understand what I'm doing. Someone left a comment, number of people want to call me Paulie Pockets, right? And they asked me if I had a problem with that. Of course I would, right? Not just because of what I just said. It's like a disrespectful nickname. And people call me Pauls because they think that that's kind of what I'm doing here when I add an S to the end of people's name, but that's, it's insulting. Like, I'm just saying some of you guys suck at coming up with nicknames, and it bums me out when you don't understand what I'm doing here. But anyways, hey, Mr. Buckets. This wasn't supposed to be a negative comment because it's not, but I just went off on a tangent. Hey, Mr. Pockets, every time you say, when talking about Hunter Biden, he impregnated a stripper whose name is Dallas but lives in Arkansas, I got to stop the video and just snarky ass laugh for a couple of minutes, then start the video up. That shit gets me every time. Much love and prayers for you and your family. because every time I think it, I feel this giddy, laughy kind of. I mean, if I don't laugh out loud, it just makes me happy because it's hilarious, right? And then other people wrote about 8 other people wrote that they get the same thing because one because I'm happy and joyful about it, like and the other thing, more importantly, it's hilarious, right? I mean, never mind, this is the president's son, right? And so there's a lot here. Dissecting a joke usually doesn't make it better, but there's a lot that's funny here, and even describing it is going to be funny. And so strippers have, names like Destiny and, I mean, they come up with these names, and sometimes their names is like, in this case, Dallas. But she's not from Texas. She's from Arkansas, where the Clintons are from. So that's the whole Arkansas connection, which is, kind of hilarious. Well, first of all, smoking crack is funny. I mean, crack is funny, not smoking crack, because crack has ruined people's lives, right? And it's, crack has done devastating, all drugs like this, these powerful drugs, opioids, have done devastating things to families. But the word crack is funny. Crack pipe is funny. And especially when people who are elitist, people who are highbrow, really rich people get crack addictions, because crack is so dirty and so, it's associated with like really a low-level drug, right? Also meth, and when really, important, fancy people, in this case, the president's frickin' son, become crackheads, it's just funny. And that's funny. Like the picture of Hunter Biden with his, crack pipe in his mouth is hilarious, right? I remember there was Biden supporters when I first covered that, and they said, hey, it's not a crack pipe, it's a meth pipe. Oh yeah, that makes it so much better, right? And the fact that Hunter Biden has been in and out of rehab, he's admitted at least 8 times, but he can't remember so many times. And then all the things that he wrote in his book and the interview with Jimmy Kimmel's, all of that's hilarious because the idea that the president has a crackhead son is hilarious. But he's also a screw-up, right? He's a complete screw-up. And so he was so inebriated at these strip clubs, and he went to the expensive, VIP rooms, champagne rooms in these strip clubs. And, strip clubs themselves are really seedy. Like, I just never liked them. My friends would like to go, but it made me feel creepy, right? Because it's creepy. Like you're gawking at naked women because of you're paying money and, my wife and I were talking about it. There seems to be in almost every TV show and every movie, there's like, ones that are rated R, they always end up in a strip club, right? There's strip clubs in like every, sort of like I was talking about that Magic Mike, do you need 3, male stripper movies? But even, it's worse for female strippers because it seems like every, R-rated, edgy type of TV show, like something on HBO or something, or lots of movies like where there's detectives and, they're going and they're searching a crime kind of thing. They end up in a strip club maybe multiple times. The other thing is they end up in nightclubs where there's loud music, sometimes demonic music and flashing lights, and they give warnings like if you have epilepsy, there could be something that triggered you. And you see this also in music videos, and they give a warning. How about cutting it out, right? How about not showing flashing lights because it bothers me. I don't have epilepsy, but it causes me to maybe get a headache, or at least it's uncomfortable. I don't like seeing flashing lights, and if it's going to hurt some people, it's not necessary for the scene, right? You see it over and over. They're just, these scenes where they have to go into some sort of a club, either a strip club or some sort of a nightclub, and there's loud music, and they're going to go ask somebody a question or something, right? But strip clubs themselves are seedy. And, my dad had like stacks of Playboys that I discovered when I was like 7 years old. And there's like whole, levels of like, therapy, like discovering your dad's like pornography stash. It's in a way, sexual abuse in a sense, right? And, when you're a kid, you don't know better, but there's just something creepy about it. You feel some shame in it, right? especially at strip clubs where their people are right there, the women, and they, they're not into you. They're not doing it because they love you. They're out there dancing for money, single mom, whatever their, situation is, right? And, it's a weird relationship, right? And it always made me uncomfortable, no matter how drunk I was. My friends would like, let's go to strip club. Like, come on, let's not do that. The places themselves, like, because it's a strip club, there's no windows, there's no natural light. And, there's always some creepy guy in like a captain's hat. I mean, it's just, the seedier the club, the worse they are. And when I first moved down to Atlanta, my brother had been there for a while. He had connections in Atlanta. And one of the guys was a bartender at this high-class strip club called the Gold Club, right? Where they had like high-class supermodel type women there, right? And he said, go down there. The guy has a job for you. And I was like, yeah, I don't really want to do that. But my brother's very forceful and whatever he is. And I told my roommate, he's like, oh, no, we got to go, right? And so I said I'd went and I'd just, find a way not to take the job. Because there's no way I was going to work at a strip club. Plus, I never waited. I'd waited tables, but I never attended bar. I wasn't a bartender. And then he sent me to another place, too. He had two friends. And the other strip club was like a trailer park looking building under an underpass, right? Or overpass, under an overpass, right? And the guy, I came in, the guy was the seediest M&F'er I've ever seen. And he was interviewing a girl, and I come in there, and he's, going to his office, and it's like, I don't want to touch the place, right? The other thing is they're just something dirty, like germ-ridden about having naked people run around and, all of it, right? There's just something, like it's gross. Strip clubs are gross. Like they have a buffet. Like, like you're going to eat food at a strip club, right? And so this guy, he has a seedy, low-rent building under an overpass, and there's a girl, and the girl's like, a young girl with, I was in my 20s, and she seemed younger than me, right? Like she's probably, 18, 19 years old, and she has like pimples, and she isn't going to make it at the Gold Club type of a girl. And I go in, the guy said, if you didn't come in, I would have had her, perform and do some things and give me a private show to audition her. And I'm like, great, can I leave now? Like I just really uncomfortable. There's some part of, growing up Catholic or whatever it is, or just natural like shame that's there. And I'm just, this isn't for me. And the guy's like, well, we don't need any bartenders. You're a pretty big guy. You think you could be a bouncer? And I'm like, nope. Like the kind of people that are coming in here, I don't want to have a fight with, right? Like. I go, that's not happening. So I leave there, right? So my roommate's like, we got to go to the Gold Club. I think I went to the Gold Club first with him. And I went there, and, there's, like, it's a different kind of a setup, and they have stage and, like, a runway, and the women were walking up and down. And the guy said, you could be a bar back, and I would make, like, a fortune, probably more than I was making waiting tables. He's like, you might even be able to date some of the girls. And I'm like, that would be my worst nightmare. Like, dating a stripper, because the women, some of them would be perfectly, I don't know. I suppose some of them would be, good women to date. I don't know, right? Aside from their looks. But if you like fell in love with a stripper and every night she's going out and performing for other men, like, it's just like the whole thing's a nightmare. I feel uncomfortable with it. So I leave, and my brother says, oh man, the guy didn't want to hire you because he thought you were creepy, right? Like, and I'm like, I'm creepy. And so there's just something, weird about strip clubs, right? There's something shameful about them. And then there's the strippers' names like Destiny and, like Brandy or Amber or Crystal or, Sunshine. Whatever it is. And then sometimes they take the names of cities. But the fact that she called herself Dallas and she was really from Arkansas, and that he was on crack, and that he impregnated her and had no recollection of having sex with her. And so he's in these private VP rooms. He's getting paid millions of dollars from foreign companies that he doesn't have to work for. He just has to be Joe Biden's son. And so he's not working for them. He's not doing anything for them but providing access to his vice president dad and his future president dad, right? And hooking up relationships between them. And that he's smoking crack and getting paid millions of dollars. And he's the vice president's son and someday the president's son, right? And he's banging strippers in the, the champagne room or the VIP room, spending tens of thousands of dollars and having no memory of it. And this woman's named Dallas, and she has a crack baby with Hunter Biden. There's just so much comedy gold. Every time I could say this story, for the rest of my life every day, and every time I find it funny, right? It's just hilarious. She's a stripper named Dallas from Arkansas. She has a crack baby with Hunter Biden. He doesn't know about it. Then he doesn't want to pay child support. Then he tries to block his financial documents because he knows doesn't want these things disclosed before the election. So finally he ends up paying child support. And then JoJo Magooze has never acknowledged this stripper baby, this stripper crack baby that's one of his grandchildren, and he's supposed to be a family guy, right? And the fact that these comedians and people don't cover it is hilarious, right? And so there's just layers to the whole everything about it. All of that is implied when you say, this crackhead impregnated a stripper named Dallas that's actually from Arkansas, right? And he's paying child support to Arkansas and, all of it. And Arkansas itself is a funny state. Ginger and Charity, just all these stripper names, right? Candy. What else are there? I bet there's lists out there. Let me see if I can find a list. Here's a list. Crystal, Brandy, Layla, Amber, Tiffany, Angel, Ginger, Candy, Charity, Anastasia, Cherry, Kitty, Jade. Oh, I forgot about Jade. Destiny. Destiny should be number one. Devin, Chastity, Raven, Scarlet, Bambi, Star, Dallas. It says, and there's a description. Dallas, meaning from the Dales, the Valley of Meadows. In 1996, the name Dallas ranked among the top 500 most common names for girls. By 2000, it grew out of favor, ranked in the 900s, eventually dropping off the top 1,000 list, most common names for girls, until 2012 when it reclaimed its same spot for nearly 14 years. And it's a stripper name. Then Diamond, Sky, Trinity, Tawny, that's a good name, right? Lexi, Layla, Roxy, Aspen, China, that would be a good name. What if he impregnated a stripper named China? Unique, Chardonnay, Houston, not to be left out, Coco, Luscious, Delight, Capri, Trixie, and Cinnamon. I forgot about Cinnamon. But anyways, this sentence is hilarious, and most comedians, the mainstream comedians, right, the people who are, late night comedians, and the mainstream news won't touch it, right? But the president's crackhead son, who's on the payroll of foreign companies, was frequenting high-end strip joints whilst uncracked. He went in and he banged a stripper named Dallas, who's really from Arkansas, and they had a crackhead stripper baby that now resides in Arkansas, and he's paying child support. And that's a story and a joke they don't want to touch. It tells you everything you need to know about our present-day system and why only spirituality will save this world. It's Paul Romano, definitely reporting from the Apocalaughs and the Ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.